in Saudi Arabia. When they were asked, can someone write a story from his own imagination? And it's all not real, but he'll provide it for this for the kid, so he could entertain. He said it's forbidden on the Muslim to do that. And in the Quran and the stories of the Prophet it's enough that tells you the truth. It's enough for education and good examples. And those who said yes, it is allowed, that is not lies. It's from given examples, because the lies means to let the person uh, think what is not real. But in the stories, everything in it that people know, it does not take any doubt about the imagination from kids and the elders, that they know that it is not true. They know that it's not an actual story. But people, whenever they read these stories, kid stories, whether to learn or to entertain, they know that all the stories are fabricated, that are not real. The scholar Ibn al-Wazir Sanani says the lies is to intend the speaker to give the illusion to whomever hears what is not true. And the other thing is he did not have that intention. So he thinks it's not intended to do that. It's about clarification. And the also the Arabic culture, the if we look at the all the stories before, uh, there's so many books that are treasures in the Arabic literature, that it's all fabricated stories that are different, and uh, all the people are not true, not real. And the Sheikh mentioned in some of the books. So, and some of the literature, also some of the incidents that happens are true. So, and this is part of the Arabic literature, the Arabic culture. Uh, it's still recorded, it's still there, and you cannot deny it. It's still still you read it and still teach it in schools. Maybe this is what is more closer to the truth. And we look at it as given the examples. And that's the choice of Ibn Uthaymeen. He said, humans, if he gave an example of a story, I'll give you an example for someone who said 1, 2, 3, or did 1, 2, 3, and the result is 1, 2, 3. It is okay. And some of the scholars said, Allah said, give them the example of two men. We gave to one of them two gardens. This is an example, not true, not a fabric, a true story. And Allah gave the example. A person who have partners who are arguing, and and they have one slave, and they are having fighting over him, and one who's only have one master. Are they the same? No. So when you give it to a known person, then that's when it's become forbidden because that's when it's a lie. Second question: what the rule about uh, a motor to bring the water from the barn to to give the agriculture the tree to water the plants? If that's motor, it's a way to get them water and to water, and it was easy. There is nothing wrong in that. And those who are doing on this waqf, so they could decide what is more beneficial for waqf. Following question: if someone made another that if he finishes army, he is going to slaughter a cow at that time, and it was in Egypt 13,000 guinea, and he wanted to do it, but he only had that money. Now it won't even buy a lamb or small goat. So the price is going up big time. It's 10 times the amount. It's from 13,000 that he had, which was the price whenever he made it. Now it's 130. So what does he do? Well, he need to fulfill the nether. Whomever made nether to obey Allah, let him do it. And whomever want to disobey Allah, let him not or disobey him. It was narrated by Aisha. And Allah complimented those who fulfilled their nether. But the obligation depends on the capability. If you can't do it, as he made the nether, and he is not hoping money that's going to come to him, so hopefully he's free from it. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, if I ordered you something, do as much as you can. And there's a difference between a lamb and a cow. Because this is what he is capable, and Allah does not obligate you more than what you can. And there's no obligation on and capability. And we cannot do the whole nether. Then you could get out of it with a kafarat yamin. Because Muslim said, from Uqba ibn Amr, that the Prophet ﷺ said, the kafar of the nether, like the yamin. If he could do some, let him do what he can. But we want to stress, you have to make sure you fulfill the nether. If you made it on self, you put yourself on something Allah didn't ask you to, then he needs to fulfill that nether. And some who promised Allah that if he gave them, that they're going to make charity, and they will not then be among the righteous. When he gave them from his bounty, they were miser, and they rejected, and they were. So he put hypocrisy in their hearts until they meet him. From what they have disobeyed Allah, from what they promised him, and what they have stashed. Don't they know that Allah knows their secret and their public? Allah knows everything. So a question about Udhiyah. If the husband buy the Udhiyah for the family, if the wife she's works and she have money, does she have to buy one too? And about the kids, they live in the family, the house, do they have to? Its income is very little. Well, the answer, one Udhiyah is enough for the whole family. The man, his wife, and his kids, as long as they're under his sponsorship. And she doesn't have to have one that's independent. But if the kids are independent with their own families and their houses, then they are required to do the every family by itself. Or his father can share the reward of the udhiyah with them. The, if the father don't have the udhiyah, then one of the kids could do it. They could help their father from them as donation to him. And he's the one who bought the udhiyah and he did the slaughtering. Ameen. The following question. Some of the kids, they bought five building. They want to invest. School, masjid, and a hallway. If the rent for the hall, is it haram? Since some of the songs gonna be there for the weddings and some mixing, I'm sure it's going to be invested as a school and the masjid, but there's no investment in the masjid. And the hallway can be an investment. So if there's money, then it will go to whatever non-profit part that has to go. But now we're talking about the hallway and to make rent it for weddings, and there's mixing, songs, dancing, all the stuff that we don't should not be there. If that's close to the masjid and it's gonna be rented in the name of the masjid, then you have to protect the name of the masjid. So it will be under the masjid and not to bring the fitna. If it is far away, it's not under his name, then you look at the more. If it is corruption, then you need to leave that investment and make it a different issue. If it is something minor, so we hoping that they get the break from Allah Azza wa Jal to make it some of the income goes to the public part and purify their money. A question: in Morocco, they use the name Al Karim. A Karim. And they write it that making is wrong in the name of Allah. He asked that question before. He had the problem with the whisper of the shaitan, and he can't find any disagreement. Only rush to making people non-Muslims. May Allah heal him. No doubt it is better to say the right name to Allah's name. And all the things that attribute to Allah. But the matter is much easier than what you think. As I said, I'm afraid you are hit with the whispering of the shaitan. My son, whomever does that, he don't need no insult to Allah or changing or hiding the names of Allah. So make them disbelievers is too far. Still people to way that they pronounce the alphabet is different. So you could give them an advice. Uh, First, you have to stay away from being rough and to be gentle and lenient. And you have to, the whispering of the shaitan, because you're uh, insisting on this path might take you to lead you to something severe. What about the divorce that happened in the courthouses and with no intention, the person didn't make the divorce? The divorce happened with no intention of is it considered a divorce? This is something that is disputed. If he wrote the divorce, he didn't say it, it's not considered a divorce. He's in the under federal law, he's divorced. But if he wrote the divorce, but he intended, and he was with agreement with the wife, it's not a divorce that happened. Is when the person making the ghusl janaba and washing the hands several times, does he have to make wudu? When you say he touched the private part, is it from the thing that's going to void the wudu? The Prophet ﷺ said it's part of you. That has to with the urges, intentional or unintentional. Some practice the Prophet's issue. It's definitely going to ruin your wudu. The remembrance of Allah and the abundance of istighfar, one of the reasons for salvation, day of judgment, inshallah. He is happy, the one who finds in his book there is abundance of dhikr and repentance. The Prophet said, if it was not for there's so many ayahs that talk about the istighfar and the benefit of it. And so you might have mercy. He will send the rain and give you strength and give you more kids and give you gardens and rivers. Why you're not respecting Allah? And He have created you in different stages. So you get your tongue busy with the remembrance of Allah, and that's the best salvation. And the Prophet ﷺ said, it's like the one whose the enemy is behind him, and he came to a good fortress, and he protected more. So that's how the shaitan, he can try, but he will not reach you because of the fortress of the dhikr of Allah. And remember, the Prophet ﷺ told us the best among all your deeds, more beloved to Allah, better than prayers, charity, everything, even jihad, except for a man who left with his self and his money didn't return with any. They said, yes, O Prophet of Allah, he said, to remembrance of Allah. But the sins, you have to get rid of them as much as you can and stay away from it. So my son, if the person make the sin, it'll be like the blood. If it increase, it will increase until it reach, and that's the run. that the saying of Allah, indeed it fulfilled their heart what they were gaining. And the Quran is the darkness that comes from the sin and top of the sin until the heart is full of the dark, too dark, there's no light could go through. And the Shaykh recited poetry that you should be just like the person who's walking in a field of thorns. You're, you, you are very careful. And with the day of judgment, all the sins will be in one part, and the other one in one. And the scale at that time is the truth. If it is a grain, Allah will bring it. Even and it's enough that Allah is going to put everything accountable. Is having if you have the good intention of and your reward only on Allah, because the kids because the kids it will increase in your deed after you die, because the only thing you take with you is to continue with charity, a good deed that benefit people, and righteous kid who will make dua for you. And those who have raised girls, there'll be a protection from the hellfire if we raise them Islamically. The kids are gifts from Allah, whether they're male or female. What is the Salah Al Mustaqim? To be in the straight path, the Quran, the Sunnah, as the previous generation did. And Islam and Sunnah. So if you are on the straight path, that's when the details comes in. Everything that's going to be exposed to you. So the person continue until Allah reach him. The dua, Allah show us the false as false and grant us not to get to it, and grant us the guidance to see the right, the right as right and the evil as evil. Because Allah said, "You want to tell you the worst deeds, those who are astray in this life, and they think they are doing somebody good." If the person his souls bit fine for him, are they following? We want Allah to show us the truth. That's truth. If the person rented for non-Muslim, he like for example, if that person is renting it and he's using it for something, a big sin. The the contract was in the origins of marriage, so you're not required. You're not going to be asked about. But it is better for the Muslim to choose the righteous person who's going to rent from him. So the rental, it is allowed. What he does behind the closed door, that is not of your. Unless you see he has an idol, then you know he's worshiping somebody beside Allah. The contract was not done on the forbidden activities. Talking about rental and the safety. But out of regard, you have to choose the righteous people from, so the place will cover them. If the rent or the commission that people get from in the West of in uh, from the organization, yes, if all these institutions they cannot run by itself. It has to have people who's going to run. If you could fund volunteers, good, alhamdulillah. But the reality is that the deed is not going to be on the volunteers. There should be a strong place where you have to pay it, so you can put them accountable. See their actions. And part of the honorable people who still volunteer even with that organization. These organization cannot even exist without having professionals who's gonna run it. But he tells those who work in those places, start to always renew your intention. Make sure that you take in goodness. You are in one of the trenches of Islam, and all the trenches need settle down. And you want Allah to see you except on a place, or you're looking for one to protect. So if you find what you're good into, and if you don't know, ask Allah. If not, do your best, because this is something between you and Allah. What about the father who is having he earn his income from illegitimate places, illegitimate forms? Well, that's his own problem. That sin will not be directed to his kids or his wife. The Prophet ﷺ, he dealt with the Jews in Medina, selling and buying, and he accepted their invitation to food, and he knew that they are taking the riba and they're forbidden, and eat people's money falsely. Someone's asking, what is the rule about the jokes that are widespread through social media? You take a person's face or make it like an animal, or vice versa. Are you making him look like the animal? The least that could be said that people need to stay away from, because Allah said in the beginning of Surah Al, they are succeeded the believers who are in their prayers, and He said about the character of Allah that when they come to false talk, they just pass by. They will not witness the sittings of the peoples, or in the hadith as narrated by Tirmidhi, and the person, he will lie and he will keep lying until he's written as a liar. Allah said, and those who are given the believers with of what they have came with a very big lies and very big sin. Because the Muslim is not the one who curse or yell or they're following their Allah's advice and tell people goodness. Allah said also, a lot of the assumption is wrong. So, and those who did not repent, these are the aggressors. And the best thing for you that you protect yourself from the daring of the Prophet ﷺ. Two things people are unaware of: the good health and al-haraka. I'm not gonna be asked of your age, what did you use it for? Your knowledge. What did you do with it? It is money. From where did he earn it, and how much he is willing to spend? And his body, how grateful he was with the Sunnah. Because the life is nothing but numbers of minutes, and you are nothing but that is about to expire. So fear Allah Azza wa Jal, and know that you're going to stand in front of Him. At the day of judgment, it, you will have your book. And they say, why this book does not leave a small or big thing if you count them? And they found what their Lord has promised is there. Allah does not do anybody wrong. And we'll send to him at the judgment as some book that he will find it exposed. Read your book, it is enough for you as a witness. So, read your book. Do you see anything except what happened? So, And remember the understand of those who reach 40, leave what's not going to benefit you in the hereafter. So, so آمين. آمين. So we ask Allah to help our brothers and sisters in Gaza. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.